Emmerdale fans are convinced they've uncovered a dramatic pregnancy twist involving Dawn Fletcher, and it could spell trouble for Joe Tate. Viewers of the ITV soap will remember that Dawn began a secret relationship with Joe shortly after he returned to the village last year. It was Dawn's daughter, Clemmy Reed, who first uncovered their hidden affair, before Dawn's husband Billy eventually found out. Naturally heartbroken by the betrayal, Billy chose to leave home farm and start fresh elsewhere. Even after facing several challenges over the past year, Joe is now contentedly living with his fiancée and her 3 children, only weeks after his father figure, Graham Foster, came back. Yet it seems their happiness may soon be under threat. In Wednesday's episode, already streaming on ITVX, Dawn admitted to Joe that she thinks she might be expecting a baby. "I haven't taken a test or anything, and I'm not completely sure, but my period's late and I'm usually very regular. So I just thought," she explained. Joe reacted with excitement, replying, "That's incredible." He embraced his future wife, though Dawn didn't appear quite as thrilled. Afterwards, Joe confided in Graham about how much he wants to have a child of his own. "Well, that's unexpected," Graham commented regarding the possible pregnancy. Joe agreed, especially considering he has been on immunosuppressant medication since his questionable kidney transplant last year. "It was just a fortunate accident," Joe added. "I'm over the moon. I've loved being a stepdad more than I imagined, but this is something else, a Tate, my own." Dawn then interrupted their conversation, clearly irritated that Joe had shared the news with Graham before she had even confirmed anything with a test. "Joe, I don't even know if I want another baby," she admitted, leaving him speechless. Now, many Emmerdale viewers believe a huge twist could be on the horizon, speculating that the baby might not actually be Joe's. "I don't know why, but I have a feeling that child isn't Joe's," one fan wrote on Reddit. Another added, "Yeah, I can definitely see a twist coming for Dawn and Joe. They've seemed too happy lately." A third viewer commented, "That would be interesting." Meanwhile, a fourth suggested, "OMG, that would be crazy. What if it's Billy's and Dawn has secretly been seeing him behind Joe's back? That would be karma." Emmerdale shock as Arthur shoves Laurel and dark memories of Ashley resurface. Arthur may be showing worrying similarities to his late father. Arthur Thomas is spiraling in Emmerdale, and comparisons to Ashley Thomas are becoming harder to ignore. As tensions rise at home, viewers are starting to question whether history could be repeating itself. In upcoming scenes, Arthur pushes his mum Laurel during a heated row, leaving her hospitalized after she hits her head. Although he is filled with guilt, Arthur insists he does not remember exactly what happened. For longtime fans, the echoes of the past are deeply unsettling. Arthur's behavior has been worsening for weeks. He has been slacking at work in the Hyde, avoiding plans for his future, and clashing constantly with Laurel, especially over her relationship with Ray. Before Ray's death, Arthur confronted him and stole his drugs and money. When Laurel found out, their argument turned explosive, and she ended up striking her son. Arthur has since used that moment against her, even threatening to expose her unless she let him keep the cash and leave for Australia. Laurel returned the money to Marlon and Rona, fueling Arthur's anger further. Now, after another fierce argument turns physical, the question is whether Laurel will protect her son or finally tell the truth. Fans fear Arthur is repeating Ashley's past. Longtime viewers clearly remember the troubled relationship between Ashley and his father Sandy, and many believe the soap may be heading down a similar path again. One fan wrote online, "Arthur is going down the same road as Ashley, abusing a parent." Another commented, "Arthur getting violent with Laurel feels just like the Ashley and Sandy storyline." A third added, "It looks like Arthur could start abusing Laurel, similar to before." The parallels between past and present are hard to ignore, and concern among viewers is growing. Fans also raised similar worries back in 2019 when Arthur was bullying Archie Breckle. What happened between Ashley and Sandy? Sandy Thomas arrived in the village in 2005 on the same day Ashley married Laurel. A retired sailor, Sandy had a troubled relationship with his son after helping his terminally ill wife Dorothy end her life. something that clashed deeply with Ashley's religious beliefs. Although they later made peace and Sandy eventually moved back into the vicarage to support Ashley, old tensions resurfaced after Laurel's affair with Marlon. Ashley began taking his anger out on his father. In one incident, Sandy accidentally flooded the kitchen by leaving a tap running, and Ashley's furious reaction caused Sandy to fall and hurt his wrist. The situation worsened over time until Laurel caught Ashley hitting Sandy, bringing the abuse into the open. Sandy chose not to press charges, but Ashley later confessed. He was arrested, given a caution, and resigned from his job, hitting rock bottom. Despite rebuilding his life, Ashley was diagnosed with vascular dementia in 2015. Sandy stood by his side until his death in 2017. With Arthur's temper now spiraling and Laurel in hospital, Emmerdale appears to be revisiting this painful family history, raising the question of whether the cycle will finally be broken. Emmerdale's Paddy Kirkstar looks completely different with a full head of hair. When Dominic Brunt first joined the ITV soap in 1997, his appearance was very different from the one fans recognise today. When actors remain on screen for decades, viewers grow used to their trademark look. That's why seeing them in old photos or other projects can be such a surprise. Emmerdale fans strongly associate Paddy Kirk with his bald head, but Dominic had a thick head of hair when he first arrived in the village, almost 30 years ago. Over time, his hair gradually thinned and eventually disappeared, leading to the clean-shaven style he now sports. Since he appears on screen several times a week, it's easy to forget he ever looked any other way. Paddy debuted as the village vet and quickly became a firm fan favourite. Over the years, he has been at the centre of huge storylines, from troubled relationships to the heartbreaking loss of his baby. His journey in the Dales has been packed with emotional highs and lows. More recently, he became caught up in the aftermath of Ray Walters' death, after his father, Bear Wolf, fatally attacked him. Paddy tried to protect his distressed dad and help cover up the incident, but Bear's confession to the police could leave Paddy facing serious consequences. Amid the heavy drama, fans recently enjoyed a lighter moment when an old wedding photo resurfaced online. In the throwback snap, Paddy is seen grinning beside Mandy Dingle with a full head of light brown hair, a stark contrast to his current look. Fans were quick to react to the nostalgic snap, with one writing, "Handsome then, handsome now, love him either way." Another admitted in surprise, "He looks so different with hair." Several others confessed they could hardly remember him ever having hair, saying the bald look now suits him perfectly and feels far more familiar to long-time viewers. Speaking in 2019, Dominic revealed that when his hair first started thinning, the show's team used spray to fill it in. Eventually, he asked to shave it off completely, joking that there's no dignity in spraying hair on every morning. He added that if a miracle cure existed, he'd grow thick, curly Italian-style hair. But for now, the bald look is here to stay. Emmerdale airs weeknights at 8 p.m. on STV, ITV1 and ITVX.